All right, guys. So in a recent interview with Charlamagne the God on the Breakfast Club, Dr. Umar Johnson went off on Joe Biden about why he hasn't done anything for the black community so far. Okay, and he brought up some very, very, very interesting points. Now, keep in mind, if you're not familiar with Dr. Umar Johnson, he's one of those Pan-African, like super pro-black. Basically, he's a segregationist type of dudes. Okay, just for pure context. Okay, but some of the things he was saying, even though I don't agree with all of what he was saying, right? Some of the things he was saying was very, very, very interesting, and it really brings up an interesting conversation that I want to have in regards to geopolitics and the opportunity that was missed with President Trump in regards to the black community. Okay, so I'm gonna play the audio from this exchange between Dr. Umar and Charlamagne the God, and then I'll give you guys my opinion on it afterwards.
I want to go to President Biden. President Biden, your first day of office, you signed an executive order to protect the life and safety of transgenders. I have no problem with that. But you did it on your first day. But he sat up here with you, Charlamagne, and told black people that if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. So if you went out of your way begging black people to vote for you, why haven't we got an executive order or any other activity coming out of the Oval Office from President Biden to protect black people from police?
I agree.
Look what he's doing with the anti-Asian hate. President Joe Biden signed an executive order that is exclusive to Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders. I don't have a problem with that. But if you can protect the Asian American and Pacific Islander from violence, why can't you do the same thing for black people? They've been dealing with violence for 1 year as a result of COVID. That's what it's called, the COVID-19 Hate Crimes Bill, to protect Asians as a result of discriminatory treatment that they've been dealing with for how long? 1 year. Black people have been catching hell for 400 years, and we have yet to get an executive order from Joe Biden to protect us from the police. So can I ask you a question? If the Senate was able to pass the anti-Asian hate crimes bill, Charlamagne and Envy, 96-1 with almost no opposition, why is it that the Emmett Till lynching bill still has not been approved? Why is it that there have been over 200 different anti-lynching bills introduced in the U.S. Congress? 200! And not one of them has been approved by the U.S. Congress yet. But the first ever Asian bill goes through on the first try. Look at the racism. Look at the discrimination. Look at the bias. Look at the inequity there. And why are they catering to the Asians? You know why? Because the amount of white people in this country is shrinking.
That's right.
And whenever the amount of white people in America shrinks, America looks to find other white groups or other minority groups that they can build an alliance with to protect their power and their interests. Who better than the Asians? They're just as conservative politically as many middle-class white Americans. They are just as economically comfortable as many middle-class white Americans. They don't like black people just as much as many middle-class white Americans. Not to mention that this can go a long way towards building relationships with Asian countries on the continent of Asia that America can't afford to build an alliance with Russia. Let us be clear about something. The continent of Asia is a big problem for the U.S. government. You got 3 power nations on that continent. You got Russia that America can't stand. You got China that America can't control. And you got India, which is one of the fastest growing populations, and it is quickly becoming the IT giant of the world. Kamala Harris is not the vice president by accident. Kamala Harris is the vice president on purpose because America needed to send the nation of India an olive branch to improve their relations because America can't afford for India to get tight with China or Russia. This is politics. And they're going to use the Asians, okay, as probationary whites. They're going to upgrade them to probationary white status to make sure that they stay on the side of the white man and not go on the side of the black man. This Asian agenda is a distraction from the issues that are affecting black people. How do you sign an executive order for the transgenders, executive orders for the Asians? He has signed nothing for black people.
All right, guys. So like I said, I don't agree with everything he's saying here. Okay. But he is on point when he talks about the whole diaspora thing, right? Like the diaspora effect is real. Okay. I have a Bengali friend, an Indian friend who loves to try to get on me because, black people, we don't have a foreign country that is looking out for us in America, right? He loves getting on me about that. That's another conversation for another day. But when he talks about Kamala, right, and why she was picked and the relationship between, the Asian continent and the United States, I think he's 100% on point with that. Kamala was picked because she's half Asian, right? And because she's half Asian, right, and half Indian, that does send a signal, right, geopolitically that, hey, we're trying to strengthen our ties with India.
Well, first, I would say that President Biden, who of course has visited India many times, respects and values the long bipartisan successful relationship between leaders in India and the United States. He looks forward to a continuation of that. Obviously, he selected and yesterday she was sworn in, the first Indian American to serve as president or vice president. It's certainly a historic moment for all of us in this country, but a further, cementing of the importance of our relationships.
So it's obvious to me that, the Democrats tried to market Kamala as some type of like, oh, she's the first black woman president. She's more Indian. They're using her more because she's Asian than it is because she's black. It's so obvious. It's so obvious. Her value to the Democrat Party is not in the fact that she is black. Her real value is that she's Indian, okay, for geopolitical purposes, because she was raised by Indian mother. Okay, she's more Indian culturally than she is black. But see, that's how they get simpletons, right? You tell them, hey, well, she's half black. So you get a win there. And then they turn around and tell people that people like Tim Scott, who's full legitimately 100% black, they say, oh, he's a white supremacist. It's ridiculous. This is a game to the Democrats, and these fools are getting played 100%. And with that being said, and then you look at the Asian hate crimes bill, right, that got passed. The only person that voted against it was Josh Hawley. It does raise some questions, right? It raises a lot of questions about how we can argue about so much stuff in Congress, right? Like, for example, the Democrats didn't want Tim Scott's police reform bill, which I'm going to get a little bit more into in a minute, but they didn't want that, right? They couldn't come together to do that, but they could all come together to agree to do this Asian hate crimes bill. And I'm not even saying it's a bad thing. I just find that interesting. Okay? I think, to me personally, and this is what I've been trying to tell people, the Democrats benefit from keeping black people down, right? The reason why the Democrats have not done anything for black people is because they benefit from not doing anything. Why fix a problem when you can use that problem to push a political narrative that's going to help you maintain power? I don't personally believe that the police issue is as big as an issue as everybody makes it out to be. I think it's overblown by social media. But let's say that they actually did try to fix that issue. If they actually fixed it, guess what? They don't have the whole systemic racism and police thing to rally based off of. A lot of these lawyers, these race hustlers, these politicians, they will all be out of a job if they actually fix the problem. So there is no incentive to actually do anything, right? However, with the Asian community, there is, because the Asian community has been economically prosperous, right, in the United States. And most of our geopolitical issues are on the Asian continent, okay, between Russia, China, and India. So it makes sense. And you also got China, who has now become a fan of Black Lives Matter, right? Using that movement against the United States to say, hey, the United States is committing human rights abuses. Also, them being in support of Black Lives Matter also can help cause more dysfunction in the United States, okay? While at the same time, maybe even protecting some people in the Asian community, because they know that a large majority of, the crimes against Asians, it happen in minority communities. They know that. This geopolitical game is really a whole nother level of politics, right? It really is. But all this is to say that this is why I try to tell people that black people, in my opinion, missed out by not getting behind Trump, right? I'm telling you, because, I mean, listen, Trump, a Republican, right? A Republican. He came out with the platinum plan. Now, whether or not you agree with the platinum plan or not, that's not the point. The point is that Trump said, listen, here's my black agenda. Here's the platinum plan. He was willing to talk to Ice Cube, right? He was willing to get input from anybody that want to work with him. And he marketed that. He marketed the platinum plan. Okay? Now, who knows whether or not he actually would have executed that. But my point is that Biden didn't even market his plan. He didn't even market his plan because he knew that he had no intentions of executing it in the first place. And this happens every single election year. The Democrats go out here and make all these promises to the black community, and then they turn around and do nothing, because if they actually fulfill their promises to the black community, then there wouldn't be any problems for them to blame on the Republicans. Okay? But Trump gave black people the opportunity to help themselves. You know how he did it? You know how? He worked with Tim Scott to create opportunity zones, which LaShawn McCoy, an NFL player, has realized, was smart enough to be like, wait, I'm getting a capital gains incentive to invest in lower income black communities. I'm a millionaire that made all this money. I can build a real estate empire and improve my community based off an economic policy that Trump and Senator Tim Scott put into place. And Trump did this with zero black support. Come on, man. He did this with no black support. And you're sitting here trying to tell me that if the black community threw their whole weight behind Trump, that nothing would happen, that we wouldn't get anything? I don't believe it. Trump is not that type of dude. Trump, I'm going to tell you, if anybody knows Trump's personality, right? He's the type of dude where it's like Trump loves attention, right? He loves glory. He loves being praised. As long as you do that, right? As long as you support him, I think you'll be fine. But again, this is why I try to tell people. Trump gave black people opportunity for us to fix ourselves. But these rich black folks out here, these ones that are football players, athletes, you know, all these people with money, why are you not taking advantage of opportunity zones the same way LaShawn McCoy is? Because you got people out here doing it. Because if you don't take advantage of it, somebody else going to take advantage of it, right? And Trump created an opportunity with no support. But yet y'all sit here relying on Joe Biden, who have shown you in the past time and time again that he does not care about you. The Democrats have told you time and time again, they don't care about you. And I'm not saying that the Republican Party cares a lot about black people either. But at the very least, the Republican Party be like, well, you know what? We'll give you an opportunity to help yourselves, right? You know, we're not going to go out here and pander, but you can, if you want to help yourselves, here you go, opportunity zones. Tim Scott and Donald Trump missed opportunity. I promise you. I really do believe that in my heart. But hey, y'all wanted Biden, and this is what you got. Now you got people complaining about it, boohoo crying. Oh my God, Biden went back on his promise. Of course he did. Kamala already told y'all she ain't doing nothing for you.
So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No.
She already told you that. She already told, they're not doing that. Democrats don't believe in people helping themselves. They believe in the government helping folks, right? Relying on the government. Okay? And they're not going to use any of that power to help you. They're not going to give you government power to help you. You might as well roll with the party that's like, well, you know what? The government won't take as much from you if you help yourself. That's my perspective, okay? I don't care about the race stuff, right? I don't care about all the other BS. All I care about is what party is going to help me help myself. That's the way I look at it. And I'll leave you guys with this. There's not much that you can ask for, right? If you don't have economic power, right? That's the whole Booker T. Washington approach, right? He didn't care about civil rights. A lot of people criticize him, W.E.D. Du Bois specifically, criticize him because you're like, he doesn't care about the civil rights stuff, right? But what Booker T. Washington realized was that if you control the money, you don't need politics, right? If you control the money, take advantage of the tax incentives. Take advantage of all the opportunities out there right now for people to grow their money, to increase their net worth. Everything else will fall in line. The Asian community has demonstrated that. It works. It works. Okay? I'm just saying. People focus way too much on politics when the answer lies in helping yourself. That's really where the answer lies. For real. I think the Republican Party is more willing to do that because it's a hands-off approach. It's a hands-off approach. And if you're going to play the political game, at the very least, don't play it like a chump, right? Don't play it like a chump. Play it smart. Make people work for your vote. The Democrats never have to work for the vote. That's why they never do anything. It's very simple. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.